going on, YouTubers and Twitch streamers? This is Licensed to Be Real, back at it yet again. Today we're going to be reviewing WWE 2K23. We're going to do a short review of every mode and everything I got a chance to play on here. Just to, let you guys get a full, honest, true gamer review. Everything else from everybody else that I've seen online has been, from, you know, YouTubers that are half paid sponsors or some type of special interest, or IGN and all them other stuff. Hey, I'm just a regular guy that likes gaming, so I'm gonna give it to you straight up. I played these games for years. So anyway, here we go. First thing I want to go over here is a lot of these, modes and a lot of the wrestlers are exactly the same from last year's game. There's no real big update or anything like that. For instance, let's start with the legends. Okay, the in-game perishable legends. Look at this. Okay, Andre the Giant, Batista. These are people that's been in the game for years, especially last year. Bret Hart, Booker T. Okay. Guys like Eric Bischoff and Hollywood Hogan, they were part of last year's DLC. So if you got last year's DLC, and paid for it, you probably feel like you got gypped because they're in this game, basically free. And and a lot of look at this. Like for instance, Kevin Nash. They have like two different versions of Kevin Nash, which is basically the same. You can go in and change the entrance music yourself, and it's the same guy, same moveset. They have three different types of Scott Hall. They have the Razor Ramon, and then they have the regular Scott Hall and NWO Scott Hall. So stuff like that. These spots could have, went to other legends. You have The Rock. These spots. They got some cool people. Yokozuna. Hey, he's great. I was a fan of him as a kid. He's awesome. Vader, Ministry, Undertaker. Okay, Umaga. But, these are, we see these all the time now. The arenas, look at this. This is literally, well, this ain't it, because you can unlock a few more in John Cena's showcase mode and in the My Rise mode. But even then, this is still lackluster amount of arenas, and, the originality on them are lackluster as well. Most of them are pretty much the same, except for, the older arenas from like the mid-2000s. And that's nice, and the late 90s, Halloween Havoc. This is always a great arena, but pales in comparison to the old WWE games of old. So that's one thing here. Even the championships. I'm gonna let you guys see all this. I think it's interesting they don't have the big gold WCW title without the spray paint. They just have the NWO versions. But they got my favorite in here, the Winged Eagle, so that's good. That's pretty much it as far as that goes. Now I want to go over a couple of things here with the let's go to universe mode. Okay, because I was excited about this, but let me show you one of the main gripes and problems I have with universe mode. Okay, you see this pay-per-view right here? Some of these pay-per-view matches would never happen in real life. Like this is a good matchup, Street Profits and the Usos, great. But look at this. Why is Roman Reigns in a six-man tag with Mansoor and Mace? And this is just completely unrealistic. And look at the main event. Let me just go to the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Otis. A singles match with a random tag team guy, no title on line, no nothing. Anyway, that's a gripe with universe mode, and also the fact that they added this thing where you can have it lets you know what cutscenes may occur before the match, either pre-match, mid-match, or post-match. But the problem is, even though they're letting you know, hey, since this is a rivalry match, you will get a cutscene, a lot of the times it automatically still picks the same cutscene over and over. So literally the only difference between this game and the other games, universe mode, is that which one, what cutscene will occur before the match even starts, but it could still be the same one that you've seen in the previous match. So it's a bit annoying. So other than that, I mean, it's the same old universe mode. I still get a kick out of it when it, lines up the matches and competitors correctly. It's still fun in some regard. Let's go to my GM real quick. I really dig the fact that they added Eric Bischoff and WCW in here. I think that's pretty cool. But the problem is, and they even got like custom WCW arenas where you can kind of see what it would look like, now if they actually, had WCW around now. But the problem is, it's way too much going on here compared to old GM mode. Back in the day, like, you always have to worry about certain show logistics, how much to, spend on the show and how much to pay a wrestler. But now you got to worry about things like say for instance, look at this. I got Rey Mysterio on my roster, right? He's a cruiserweight. I tried to match him up with JBL, or even if I matched him up, I tried to match him up with Sheamus, and that's a good matchup. But it said that Rey Mysterio only matches up best with giants. So I would have to put him with guys like this guy at the bottom right, which is a created character, who doesn't have a big enough pop to make the match get a high enough rating. So that match would end up having a horrible rating anyway, when I could have put him with a better superstar who's a heel and has a bigger pop, and the match would have got over great. But the game won't allow me to do that because it has to be, cruiserweight can only get good ratings with giants, which I don't have too many of, and it's ridiculous. So that's a bit annoying. The budget that you start off with is a bit annoying because you can only get like a handful of wrestlers. I only had like literally 10 wrestlers at the beginning, so that's a bit annoying and not as much as fun as, the old SmackDown versus Raw GM modes. And some of these cards are good, but some of them does nothing to help you. Like, you can kind of use some of these to throw a rink in the plans of your opposing GMs, and that's great. But if you run out of these cards, you have to spend more of your money to, which is, like I said, not, few and far in between. So, it kind of gets annoying trying to manage that. I know that's the point of the mode, but trust me, play it for yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's too many extra things to split up your money between. Now, what else? Let's see. John Cena Showcase. This is actually a pretty fun mode. I enjoyed it. But again, same thing with the Legends. It's nothing really too new to unlock here. I mean, look, we unlock in 2018 Undertaker and 2018 Cena. I mean, come on, man. That's really the same character as the current gen. You know what I mean? Like the current versions. And you get that 2018 WrestleMania arena. I mean, but really, I mean, what does that really do? This is kind of cool. You get the 2003 Undertaker. Again, just another version of himself that we had in games for years prior. You get the Vengeance arena. It was nice to have O2 Angle back in here and RVD. But again, characters we had in recent games. I mean, it'd be nice to throw some new names and new arenas in there. We also had this ECW arena countless times now. So it's nothing really too shocking in there. But it's still, the matches are fun to play through. What else? Let's see. Let's go through My Rise. Now, My Rise, I played a little bit of this. It got two different stories, one for the man, one for the woman. I actually made my character, a.k.a. The Lock, that's the name of the man's character. I made him look kind of similar to The Rock, even though he's not supposed to be, The Rock. Anyway, it's kind of a play on a joke that they, they mentioned The Lock looks like The Rock, or sounds like The Rock in there. But I made him completely based on someone else. But anyway, I was gonna say it's a pretty good story. You actually feel like you in a actual um, WWE, television mode, and it's really great. But the social media aspect of this mode kind of takes away from it. Like this here, like sometimes. Hold on, let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. Hold on. Well, I think it already. Okay. Well, anyway, I can't really go back and show you what. Oh, here it is. Like this stuff right here, like using the in-game social media in order to further the storylines when you could add more cutscenes. That's a bit of a drag. You know what I mean? Because it gets a little bit tedious to read all these messages just to further the storyline and to get into the match. But it is what it is because they do make up for it with some other interesting cutscenes and storylines later on. So it's good. It's okay. I just wish they would eliminate that social media part or whatnot. But yeah, hold on, let me back out of here for a second. But yeah, I actually made this character based on my son. He loves this game and John Cena and everybody. So he gets a kick out of that. Let me see what else. The gameplay. Now the online. No, before I get to that, let me get to my faction. Now my faction. I know this isn't you guys' cup of tea all the time, but I kind of like it. People keep saying, "Oh, it's a card game." It's not a card game. You level up your actual wrestlers. So now that they added the online quick play matches against real life opponents, it's kind of interesting to see how you match up. Where you get the higher rated card with the higher rated superstar, or will they get it, or who attached the most boosts and attributes. It's kind of fun. You know what I mean? And it doesn't affect I don't believe it affects your overall online rank record if you're worried about the stuff like that. But it's just for fun. You can play weekly towers if you're into the weekly towers that they introduced in 2K19. Stuff like that. It's all on here. It's very fun. I enjoyed it. And if not, you guys can always check out regular online. But see, here's the problem with online play. Now, the frame rate tends to drop and matches tend to drop a whole lot more frequently than last year's game. Some people complain about that last year. I had zero problems with last year's game. Hell, people complain about 2K20 and I didn't have any glitches, believe it or not, in that game. What else? But yeah, that's the main problem with this game is that nothing really feels too different from last year's game. They added war games. It's fun, but it's like, is that the only thing we're paying for in the new game? I really don't understand it, but how people go crazy for this mode is if it makes up for the lack of new features overall. It really doesn't. It's interesting, but I'm just picking random people. But it really doesn't put you in that, wow, I feel like this is a completely new game and it is really worth the new buy. So overall, I would have to give this game probably the same rating as last year's game, which is a 7.5 or 8 out of 10, because it's fun, but it's nothing really just new and groundbreaking. Last year that was a whole new overhaul, so that it was interesting. That's why I gave it an 8 or whatever. But it has just very small tweaks to each mode. But the problem is those small tweaks don't really do too much. Oh, a new feature in the gameplay is now they have a new kick out meter where you can flick up on the right stick in order to kick out, which is kind of fun. And I'm gonna give you guys a heads up and a cool tip on that. As soon as you get pinned by your opponent, just constantly flick it up, and it'll land in the right spot. Whether you take in one finisher or five finishers, it works pretty well, and it's kind of fun. It's not a cheap exploit, but it does make some of the matches fun where you can go back and forth, and if you want to extend the matches into longer, more competitive matches, so, with your friends or whoever you play with, it's fun. So I did enjoy that new aspect of the game. Hold on. But yeah, yeah. So overall, I give it a 8 out of 10. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I feel, that they can do better in all those areas that I previously mentioned. Okay, you guys be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And hey, I'll see you guys the next time around on the next video. Take care.